In 3, 2, 1. Oh! That poor wolf. We just fucking Simba'd that wolf. Simba.
You could say that they're the Wolf of Fall Street.
Before we start, this video is filled with about 6 billion spoilers, so click away if that's going to be a problem. Secondly, as I suspect YouTube might be raising some eyebrows at my vocabulary, this video is sponsored by Raycon. Viewers who have been watching for any amount of time are probably well aware of Raycon's everyday wireless earbuds. You might know that they look sleek as all hell, sound great, and have an enormous 32-hour battery life. You might also know about their comfortable gel tips, 8-hour playtime, and the fact that they're half the price of their closest competitors, but you might not know how these things refuse to fall out no matter what you're doing. In fact, I'm not making this up. In the fucking creator brief they gave me for this video, they actually cited specific examples for activities where this remains the case. The first is quote, doing some casual parkour in the woods, although it seems hardcore parkour is still in the testing phases. Number 2 was quote, during a vigorous workout, which viewers can take that implication how they wish. The third and greatest of all was to run around town and get into fights, meaning I have to assume the dedicated team of Raycon engineers got their poor fucking intern to start slapping random people as a quality assurance measure. The good news is that viewers who might want to test this for themselves can be comfortable in the knowledge that they'll give you a full refund within the first 30 days for any reason at all, because with 48,000 5-star reviews, they're understandably pretty cocky. Going to buyraycon.com/surswag will get you another 15% discount, or just click on the link in the description like a normal fucking person. Raycon, the YouTuber's choice. Regular viewers of this channel will probably know that I've never played a Souls-like title, and I've gone on record saying that Dark Souls players are self-hating masochists as early as 2017. Up until the review embargo for Elden Ring, I still didn't really give a shit about this game, but after seeing more straight 10s than a classroom of sports science students, the internet injected me with a lethal case of FOMO. There aren't too many games that manage to capture the entire gaming community quite like Elden Ring, but this game harkens back to a time where Skyrim had just hit the shelves and everyone was talking about what they did the previous day and what cool shit they managed to find. As of time of writing, I've played around 50 hours of Elden Ring, which although doesn't exactly make me qualified to talk about everything, is enough time to form some pretty steadfast opinions. I've touched grass, been branded a maidenless degenerate, and read more unhelpful messages than I care to mention. When playing a game, players tend to build a relationship with it, whether they know it or not. Titanfall 2 is the one that got away. Deep Rock Galactic is the loving wife who kisses you on the cheek every morning before work, but Elden Ring is the one you never brought home to your parents. This bitch will spit in your face, key your car, and steal cash when you're asleep, but you just can't fucking stop. Very early into Elden Ring, you learn this game doesn't respect you, or care about your needs or ambitions, and upon this realization, your mindset changes. If this game is so comfortable killing you off without warning, time after time, and leaving you destitute without a second thought, then you as a player should feel no mercy, and give no quarter to the enemies laid before you. Picking up Elden Ring is a declaration of war, where there are no rules of engagement, no sense of morality, and no fairness to be given. As a result, more than any other single player game, I embraced bullshit wins whenever I could find them. If an enemy couldn't hit me from a certain position, I abused the shit out of their inability to retaliate. If I could summon allies to create space, I'd do that shit without a moment's hesitation. And if I could run straight past an entire area without fighting anyone to kill a boss, you fucking know, I was heading straight for the jugular. This isn't to say I didn't somewhat admire this sadistic bitch, because even as I was getting slaughtered without hesitation, it was hard to not marvel at the insane vastness of this world, the twisted design of every single enemy, and the story, which will likely take me 3 hours of lore videos to even slightly understand. The fucking build diversity is also stupid levels of good, and although I've killed maybe 10 enemies in melee combat altogether, my friends were entirely invested in hitting things as hard as they could. Even halfway through this game, I still want to go back and choose an entirely different playstyle, because I can't help feel that even with everything I managed to unlock, I hadn't even experienced half the game. There's also the fact that Elden Ring teaches you fucking nothing. I was spending more time just looking up guides on this game than actually getting to play, because you really have no idea what could be around the next corner. If I didn't look up a location for a staff, I'd be using my base level piece of shit for the first 30 hours before finding something better, and there are entire regions of the map that are entirely hidden unless you manage to find them. Krusty the editor is a huge Souls fan and even went as far as avoiding trailers to experience the game entirely fresh, but that was the difference between me and I. While he wanted to put a ring on this bitch, I have no respect for the game, and allowing it to get the better of me was entirely unacceptable. As nice as it is for purists like Krusty, who can happily spend 20 hours without ever opening a guide, this design philosophy does come with some specific problems. In many instances, it can be difficult to know if you're in an over-leveled area, if you needed better equipment, or if you just didn't yet have the skills to rise to the challenge. The game doesn't explicitly give you level recommendations or tell you where you should be going, and with my particular build, it made things even more convoluted. My build was a straight up sorcerer, meaning I dumped every single point into intelligence without a second thought. My intelligence was at fucking 70, while half my other stats were in the single digits, but that's all part of the plan. My reasoning behind this decision was as long as I didn't get hit under any circumstances, I should be able to murder whatever I come across faster than they can close the distance. The problem, however, is that as I could get one shot by pretty much fucking anything, I had no way of knowing how strong a particular boss was supposed to be. A boss could be hitting 400 damage or 400,000 damage, and it meant absolutely no difference to my character. I'd be one shot either way, so determining their strength was particularly challenging. This situation leads to a few things. The first is farming, which I was absolutely doing on the regular. As we've already established, I had absolutely no respect for Elden Ring, so I'd play Farmville for hours if it meant I could put a boss in their place. This was objectively not very enjoyable, but even after all these hours, I'm not even sure I ever found this game fun. Most titles I play are to unwind or relax, but this shit was just pure crack, and I wasn't about to let it beat me if it was the last thing I did. The second thing that happens is that players turn to the multiplayer system, which gave me very mixed opinions. I'm the type of person who generally loves playing games with other people. Gaming is very much a social activity, and I like being able to see what kind of playstyles my friends have crafted and how we can best complement each other's builds. In most areas in Elden Ring, you and your friends can get together and tackle a particularly challenging boss or dungeon side by side, which in turn lets you share in the rewards. The problem is that by design, this system is made particularly difficult to use, as players need to create a password, meet up at the exact same location, and do a fucking ritual to even start. On top of this, if a visiting player dies, they get immediately ejected, while if the host dies, it's game over for everyone. Do not pass go, do not collect 200 runes. Before the comments start rolling in, I understand that this is supposed to be an Avengers Assemble moment, and that it's designed to be a special occasion, to give you just that little bit more help to overcome a challenge, but in practice, it was just a design decision that made the game less fun. This is a game obviously made for players to interact with each other, and facilitates the freedom to throw together incredible and unique builds, which makes me so disappointed with how unnecessarily difficult it is to play as a team. I'd imagine a handful of Dark Souls traditionalists might think that even the idea of playing the game cooperatively is heresy, but one of Elden Ring's goals was to make this genre more accessible. Players are still going to be beating this shit on their own, without ever leveling up or wearing armor, and that's always going to be impressive, but the best part of this game, at least for myself, was just making my way through dungeons with the boys, and coming together to fight bosses way stronger than ourselves. Ultimately, if we wanted to fight every single boss in the game as a team, we are going to do that anyway, so I find it puzzling why they'd make it so hard to play a game the way we wanted after we all spent nearly $100 a head to buy in. This isn't a matter of difficulty, but rather just being able to more easily use the systems that the developers put into place.
I don't want to commit mass genocide in these tunnels, but you guys aren't giving me a whole lot of other options is the problem. See, I don't think I'm the bad guy of this story. I'm just trying to get through. And you're threatening me and my wizard friend. And my wizard friend is not as healthy as I am, so you understand that I have to do this. This is not a choice that I'm making, this is a choice that you're making by being in our way.
I can't speak for the other roles, but playing as a sorcerer also had some class-specific issues, with the main one being spell variety. This game has over 170 spells that all have unique effects and cast animations, but in my entire playthrough, I still didn't find anything more reliable than the very first one I could use. I must have casted Glintstone Pebble 100,000 times, because although I met the requirements for casting every other intelligence spell in the game, nothing ever quite hit that perfect balance of efficiency, cast time, and damage. As someone who was looking forward to evolving my playstyle over the length of the game, my hope never really came to be. On the upside however, the sorcery path eventually led to a move straight out of Dragon Ball Z, and finally let me disrespect this game and its bosses like I had always intended. As long as there was a friend or a summon between me and whatever dumb shit idiot we were fighting, I could now reliably melt their health bar and call them a pathetic piece of shit like I had always wanted. After looking back at every bullshit death, every long-winded process of playing with a friend, and every time I was robbed of every rune I had painstakingly gathered, I felt absolutely no remorse. This was what the game wanted from me all along, and I was more than happy to deliver. I compare Elden Ring to high art in that I'm not sure if it's this insane masterpiece that is rightfully being revered by the world, or if it's one of those blank paintings that managed to sell for $8 million for money laundering purposes. Perhaps its commitment to being so uncompromisingly punishing and neglectful was the whole point, as it contrasts the open world stereotype where so many games are so intent to coddle the player throughout the entire journey. Perhaps giving the player more guidance would defeat the point of player interaction and cheapen the sense of discovery that FromSoft fans have been so excited to experience. In this same vein, it's just as likely that this is all bullshit overanalyzing on my part, but if a good piece of art makes a person think and feel, I suppose Elden Ring was still doing its job, even if I thought I was going crazy and I kept feeling a sense of frustration. When people ask me whether I like Elden Ring, I still struggle to give them a definitive answer. The concept of fun has long faded, and my respect for this game evaporated when I learned how little it respected me. This is no longer a game, but an unhealthy obsession. It's provoked a deep primal urge to dominate and conquer, and along this treacherous and unforgiving journey, I've become battle-hardened, bitter, and increasingly more spiteful. Death is to be expected, to be analyzed, and not the sign of weakness of myself, but with a game. Every time I die, I become stronger, and the pitiful game loses one more trick to slow its inevitable defeat. The end is nigh, and by witness of 1,000 gods, and the strength of 1,000,000 stars, I will bring this game to its knees. 9 out of 10 pretty good.
Swing at me, bitch. Swing at me. Hang on. He's gonna get me this time. No, he's gonna get me this time. No, wait. He's gonna get me this time. This time for sure. No, he's got me this time. Oh, I'm so scared, lizard boy. This is fucking dumb. Sick. Swag, I'm the ranged one now. I'm the ranged one, Swag. Swag, it's fucking me. I'm the ranged one now.